Hello and welcome to Into the Mindshaft with me, Helen. I'm your host today. Thank you so much for joining me if you're able to. Please say hello in the chat if you're there. Be nice. Bill and Ted rules. Be excellent to each other. I am very excited today. We're going to look at some simulation theory because it's been popping up in my algorithms a fair bit lately, and so I just wanted to have a little look at it. It's not something I'd really ever thought about or explored in any detail, so I had a little look about. I found some videos that look quite interesting. I've not watched yet. I've got an article to look through which explores the likelihood of being in a simulation. I'm not going to pretend I understood it all. I'll show you the bits I didn't understand. I think you'll see why. And yeah, it's just really fun to investigate and a bit of a brain experiment, I suppose, to see, are we actually living in a simulation? It'd be great to hear what you think and whether these philosophical thought experiments are impactful for you and for me as well. So it's going to be quite interesting. And we're going to get going now with the first one. So this first one is, I'm using, which channel is this fella? It's not Rainbow Dust. Oh my God, Philosophy Vibe. It's early. It's super early. Give them a like, give them a sub. And we're just going to watch this video. This is about the brain in a vat theory. So I haven't read about this theory too much. All I've done is have a look at what it means, and it's a kind of, how can I say it? Hilary Putnam is the male, not a woman, male philosopher who came up, not that it matters, came up with it not that long ago, in the sort of 80s vibe, I think. I'm don't quote me on that. But yeah, so we're going to have a little listen to this and react to this video. So this is our reaction phase. So if you're new to Into the Mindshaft, I'm trying to allow myself space to go down rabbit holes of research, because that's what I like to do, and just share it with you. And stop saying so much. I notice I do that a lot. So let's get going and have a little look, see at what the brain in a vat is all about and whether we think we're that as well.
Hello and welcome to Philosophy Vibe, the channel where we discuss and debate different philosophical ideas. Today we're going to be
Tell me if the volume's okay.
Interesting thought experiment, and that is the brain in a vat. Great. So, the brain in a vat thought experiment is a scenario used to highlight how uncertain our knowledge is and ultimately lead one to philosophical skepticism and even solipsism. In this video, I will be explaining the...
Pause. What is solipsism? Ugh. The philosophical idea that only one's mind is sure to exist. Anything outside of your mind is unsure. Okay.
The brain in a vat scenario, and then we will debate this to see if it really is a good argument.
A heated debate.
Skepticism. Okay.
Just a row. Have a massive row about it.
Very well. So then, imagine everything you perceive is not in fact real. Everything around you, the whole external world, all the people in your life, everything is fake, including your own body. In fact...
Where are you with this? Are you on board with it? Does that sound legit to you, or does this sound like bull?
All you are is a disembodied brain in a vat.
Would you mind that? If that was true, would you care? Because if the perception that you're having is already... I'm already going off on a tangent. I just think this is fascinating thought experiment. And, that's what we want to do, is we want to challenge our brains, have a little bit... You exercise your body. Why not exercise our minds? So that's all we're trying to do here. And it's good fun. So, yeah, let's crack on. I'm going to try and let it play through without talking.
A mad scientist has your brain in a vat in his laboratory. This mad...
Why does he have to be a mad scientist? And why is he ginger? As a person who was born ginger and is half Scottish, I take offence to that.
Scientist has connected wires to your brain, fitted them onto all your neurons, and is projecting this reality onto your brain. You then see and experience this world and this reality, but really, everything you see is not real, just stimuli on your brain from this mad scientist's computer. And in reality, all you are is this brain floating in a vat with a bunch of wires connected.
To what end? Why is the mad scientist doing this to us?
Your entire world, your entire reality is false. Well, quite a dark thought experiment. Yes, but think about it. You could never conclusively know that you are not a brain in a vat. If you are a brain in a vat, then the reality the mad scientist is projecting is all you know. You think that is life. So, because you can't prove this is not the case, you cannot then rule it out, meaning any knowledge you attain in your life, in your reality, will always have a question mark. When you see a tree or when you see the sunrise, it can always be questioned, is this really real, or is this just a projection from the mad scientist onto my envatted brain?
Envatted? That's a new word of the day. Okay, so let me see if I've got this straight. You're a brain in a jar. Everything you see is just a screen, a projection, because you're attached to all the neurons and to the mad scientist's computer. I don't know if I would mind that. Is that comforting to know that you're just a floating little pickled walnut? I find that that's not scary to me. I don't know why people get scared, because I'm only saying this from like the kind of Matrix days. But I don't know, personally, I find that comforting, that I'm just a brain in a vat. Nothing matters. In the words of Metallica, nothing else matters.
As such, all knowledge is then thrown into doubt. Nothing can be certain. The whole external world can indeed be a huge fake projection, and so we become philosophical skeptics, never truly believing we have full concrete knowledge. Fascinating. I should note that the brain in a vat has taken a few different forms over the years, most notably René Descartes' evil demon theory in his meditation.
Oh, we're going to look at that.
And more recently, simulation theory has been seen as a type of brain in a vat theory. We have done videos on these, so do check them out.
Well, maybe we will. Okay, so that's all we're going to maybe look at that video. I haven't looked through this. All I wanted was that intro. Because we can decide for ourselves what the arguments are for it. So, brain in a vat, what do you think? I don't know. As a thought experiment, it's kind of interesting because what are the questions that we need to ask? One, who is this evil genius? Who's this mad scientist that has such dexterity that they can attach their cables to our neurons in 8 billion people's brains and counting every day? That's one question. Like, why? Why are they doing it? No, how are they doing it? Second is why? To what end? Is it just for funsies? Is it because, like, I think in the Matrix, we were being used as batteries to power that world? And maybe it's not them projecting the world that we see. Maybe it's the combination of all the brains in jars, 8 billion brains, combining to make some kind of brain battery. No? That could be it. Why else would they do it? I think it's, as a brain in a jar, it's impossible perhaps to imagine the world beyond what is being perceived. So what is being fed to you in the wires in your jar, it's very difficult then to think beyond that and to imagine the lab behind you and yourself on all the rows, because you physically can't do that, because you're plumbed in to see the world that we're seeing now, seeing you, seeing me, seeing the mic, the screens, or hands even, this hair that's annoying me, all of that, that's all fake, because you are just a brain in a jar. Ooh. He did mention there, René Descartes. He was French. That was a French accent. So last, if you didn't catch the live stream, it was an excellent American accent. And now we're on the Frenchies. So this one is a little bit longer. This is from Yale University. It's 4 minutes. It's let's go to school. We're here to learn. We're here to, get our critical synapses going. Because if we are these brains in a jar, and we are just a communal battery for some higher being, then let's give it some juice. Let's use those brains. All right, so let's have a little look at this. Please say in the chat if you can't hear anything or the vol is bad. So, René Descartes, the evil genius theory. Let's have a look.
Suppose that I woke up this morning. That is to say, at a certain point, I look around my room and I see the familiar sights of my darkened bedroom.
Immediately, a teacher sitting like that with his little Converse trainers, absolutely love it.
I hear perhaps the sounds of the cars outside my house, my alarm clock ringing, what have you. I move out of the room toward the bathroom, planning to brush my teeth. As I enter the bathroom, it's much more light. I look in the mirror, and here's where things get really weird. I don't see anything.
Okay, so he's talking there about, I'm not saying this for your benefit, I'm saying it for mine. I'm sure you've heard exactly what he's just said. But yes, so he has sensory experience, hearing, smelling, moving. Okay, that bodily and external input almost.
Normally, of course, when I look in the mirror, I see my face. I see my head. I see the reflection of my torso. But now, as I'm looking into the mirror, I don't see anything at all. Instead, I see the shower reflected behind me. Normally, that's blocked, of course, by me, by my body. But I don't see my body. Slightly freaked out, I reach for my head, or perhaps we should say, I reach for where I would expect my head to be, but I don't feel anything there. Glancing down at my arms, I don't see any arms. Now, I'm really panicking. As I begin trying to touch my body, I don't feel anything. I don't,
touch
not only can't I feel anything with my fingers, I don't have any sensations where my body should be. Now, we could continue the story, but I probably said enough for you to grant that what I've just started doing, a novelist could do a better job of telling the story than I just did, but what I've just done was basically I've imagined a story in which I discover that my body doesn't exist.
Okay, that's cool. Imagine that. You look in the mirror and there's no one there. Are you a vampire or are you brain in a jar?
Or I've imagined a story in which my body perhaps ceased to exist. Or I've imagined a story in which I exist, or at least my mind exists. I'm thinking thoughts like, why can't I see my body in the mirror? Why can't I feel my head? What's going on? I'm panicking, right? We've got a story in which I'm thinking all sorts of thoughts. My mind clearly exists, and yet, for all that, my body does not exist. We can certainly, it seems, imagine that possibility. Now, the brilliant thing about this argument is it goes from that to a conclusion about there being a difference between my mind and my body. What we've just done, after all, is imagine that my mind exists, but my body does not.
Okay, so that means then, why would that be? We are the brain in the jar at this point. So what we just watched about being a brain in a vat, that's similar now to where we're going here. because we mustn't get. What I did when I was sort of reading around Descartes, I fell down a Descartes rabbit hole just before I was late starting this stream, because I was reading about René Descartes and his quite interesting little life in sort of France in the 1600s and moving to Netherlands because it was more laissez-faire. So it was kind of fun, but I went off on a tangent. And one of the things it was saying, and I was using Britannica.com as a source rather than Wikipedia, because Britannica, they obviously fact check it all and stuff like that. And they have a cool little chat bot as well, so you can go on there and ask questions. I'll show you in a minute. It's really sweet. So Descartes, it said some people, because I was reading, I'm so sorry, I can't get my words out, my brain's going at 100 miles an hour and my mouth cannot keep up. Some people were saying Descartes was the brain in a vat thing. It's not. There's nothing to do with it. Descartes was about he was a bit skeptical of the environment, like not being able to rely on sensory issues, which is what he was saying at the start, I believe, about hearing the birds, feeling the bedding, feeling the clothes, feeling the floor under your feet, seeing things. You can't rely on your senses. You can't rely on maths and 2 + 3 = 5. A square has 4 sides. You can't rely on that because there's something bigger and more powerful beyond it. I think he was actually using it to sort of prove the existence of God.
Now, what does that show? Descartes says what it shows is the mind and the body must be two logically distinct things. The mind and the body cannot be the same thing. Because, after all, what I just did was imagine my mind existing without my body.
I mean, sometimes that made me think of, when if you hurt yourself, if you burn yourself by accident on a stove, or maybe you cut yourself slightly or stand on a bit of glass. I know it's disgusting. I'm really sorry. You do that kind of thing, and you see this if you watch war films and someone gets an arm off. The adrenaline that goes through your body, the chemicals that your body releases to deal with the pain receptors to protect it going to your mind and your brain. Like, it doesn't hurt until you look at it. And maybe that's what that made me think of, the fact that your mind and body are two distinct entities, and your mind can keep doing what you're doing even if your body is actually injured in some way. I don't think it's exactly the same, but that's just where my mind went to.
But how could I even do that, even in imagination? How could it even be possible to imagine my mind without my body if talking about my mind is just a way of talking about my body? If they're really, bottom line, metaphysically speaking, the same thing, then you couldn't have one without the other. I mean, after all, so
he's on the move.
A podium. Try to tell a story in which this podium exists, but this podium does not exist. You can't do it, right? If the podium is just one thing, the podium, and if there's just one thing, you could tell a story in which it exists, you could tell a story in which it doesn't exist, but you can't tell a story in which it exists and doesn't exist. If I can tell a story in which A exists and B doesn't exist, it's got to follow that A and B are not the same thing.
Okay, so that's where they're saying about it being duality of a mind and body. Like, you can't have the two. Got it? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. So that for me is quite an interesting concept. Where does that leave us? It doesn't answer any of that how or why, the questions that I had at the start. It's just putting out there this thought experiment that your mind and your body are two different things. Your mind and your body are two different things, and they can't be the same thing because you can imagine a world where the other one doesn't exist. You can tell that story. It's so crazy to me, honestly. Let's have a quick look at this one. This is Mr. Elon Musk in... that last video was this fella. Descartes argument, Open Yale course select. There's loads of cool stuff on there. We might use that again another time. So now we're going to take a look at this one. Is life a video game? And then we'll get the words going, and then we'll look at the article. Okay. So let's see.
Sort of a philosophic concept that a sufficiently advanced civilization will be able to create a simulation. Yeah.
So this is going to the why and how, like those questions we had. The first two were sort of setting up the theory of like what it could be. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And now evil Lord Elon, however you want to view him, is going to tell us, and I think this is in 2016, so this is a while ago, but still stands. I don't think he's changed his mind since then.
Maybe you've answered this before? A simulation.
I've had so many simulation discussions, it's crazy.
Okay. Because
in fact, it got to the point where basically every conversation was the AI/simulation conversation. And my brother and I finally agreed that we would ban such conversations if we were ever in a hot tub. Okay. That was like, because that really kills the magic.
Hot tub, so the idea is, right, any sufficiently advanced civilization could create a simulation that's like...
How would you simulate you're in a hot tub with your brother? What kind of simulation is that?
Our existence. And so the theory follows that maybe we're in the simulation. Have you thought about this? And
a lot.
Are we
even in hot tubs? So much so it had to be banned from a hot tub.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the sexiest conversation.
Are we in?
I think here's, the strongest argument for us being in a simulation, probably being in a simulation, I think is the following. That 40 years ago, we had Pong, like two rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. Mm-hmm. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality. Mm-hmm. If you assume any rate of improvement
which has happened, we have VR and augmented reality. Look at Pokemon Go.
To all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Just indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever, and there would probably be, billions of such, computers or set-top boxes, it would seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
So he's saying there the odds of it all, of base reality. So I haven't got the captions on that. It's very annoying. He's very clearly spoken, though, which is hopefully fine for you guys. The base reality, I think, is, reality 0, like 1, the starting point, not a simulation. Because a simulation I mean, this is slightly different from the brain in a jar thing, but I think the simulated reality there is what's being perceived by the individual brain in a jar. Now this simulation now is being talked about less like that, in a kind of the Matrix, you're a battery in a tub of goo attached to some kind of metallic spine in the dark, and you're just seeing the world. That was the Matrix film. Now when we're looking at simulation theory being brought up like this, it's more about one reality that started, that was real. So no brains in jars, just real people, and then everything else is a simulated, like world 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, infinity. Again, to what purpose? Why? I think that's where I get stuck. I don't believe this. And I've tried to, whilst I was doing my research and reading around topic, I haven't watched these videos, but I'm just reacting to these now. But reading around the topic, my starting point is no, because I can't think of the why. The how doesn't bother me so much, because I think as Elon's saying there, the exponential increase of technology and how we're seeing our own technology and powerful computing increase, then that's, why wouldn't another species have done the same? But I think he's not even talking about alien or extraterrestrial life. It's talking literally about, this is the world where it all started, and then there's simulated worlds, and it's far more likely that we're in one of the simulated worlds. Again, I can't guess past, like, I get the idea that games look amazing now versus what they used to look like just a few years ago, and every year they're getting better and better and better. But that's the theory. In reality, you look at a lot of games, and I was watching something, and I cannot remember what it was, but where game developers and the programming they use, obviously they, everyone likes to cut corners and find cheats and all that, and they actually, it kind of levels out, like the way the reality, the realness of it kind of peaks and then kind of plateaus. It doesn't just keep getting better to the point where, oh, it's now indistinguishable, because people cheat, people cut corners, the game developers, are given tools, and there's AI programming that it helps expand the games, and it doesn't actually, I would argue it'll plateau. I would argue that it gets to a peak and that's it, because actually people's home computing and consoles don't have the power to keep up with anything more than a certain level. Arguably, that might be one counterpoint to that.
So
Tell me what's wrong with that argument.
is the answer yes?
I just did.
The argument is probably, but I just like, is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm
made
not
that,
sure what
but,
the error.
No. The argument makes sense. So the assumption then is that somebody beat us to it, and this is a game.
No, there's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality.
Oh, okay. What do you think?
Well, I think it's 1 in billions.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, that seems to be like clearly what it suggests.
Right.
And actually, I mean, arguably, we should hope that that's true, because otherwise, if civilization stops advancing, then that may be due to some calamitous event that erases civilization.
Mm.
So maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because otherwise...
Because they could reboot it.
Well, otherwise, either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable...
Shut up, Grandad.
or civilization will cease to exist.
Just completely ignored him. Well, that was very interesting. Yeah, if you want to have a look at that, thank you, Recode there. There's going to be probably more about those. I don't know what I feel about that. It's very interesting. I think it's all crap, to be honest. Maybe call me some cave-dwelling, unimaginative fool. I've been called worse. But I just think that's a load of old tut. I'm very bad at believing conspiracy. That to me falls in the bracket of conspiracy theory. It doesn't fall into logic. Because logically, in base reality, so from Elon's point of view, base reality is like having there's one world and it's got so exponentially brilliant at tech and computing that it's indistinguishable, and then somehow it peaks over, and then base reality still exists and the simulation exists on its own, which means then that whatever's been created in, he was talking about gaming, whatever's been created in those games has become sentient itself and can live on without the need of input from the base reality. That is what he's saying. I've got the shark pen, so let's make a note of that. I have to write things down because I'm doing this as much like for me to learn about this stuff, and if I don't make notes, you know, if I just sit passively watching a video, it doesn't go in at all. So yeah, so you got base reality, and then having the simulations, because the AI has become sentient and can live on. And then that does that mean, but why is it exactly the same? Because the games we make aren't real. They're fantasy worlds, they're sci-fi worlds. So say Cyberpunk, right, 2000, or No Man's Sky, or whatever, those games, they become sentient. And then, did they then go on their own technological thing? And what if a game is set in the Ancestors, for example, that one where you're a gorilla, or is it a chimp, and you evolve? What about them versus No Man's Sky? So No Man's Sky already has all this amazing tech. So in that, do they then simulate worlds themselves in those games? Or maybe the game thing has thrown me because I'm like, how does that work? What about if you're in a really crappy game and you don't have that stuff? Just so we know, this is Monsieur Descartes. This is what he was purported to look like. Don't fall for the prices at Sainsbury's. Go away. So yeah, this is this dude. So that was when he was about, in case that's of interest to you. I'll stick a link in the chat here. But this is what they were saying, the mind-body dualism and mind-body problem. Let's have just a quick look at this. The problem of explaining how mental events arise from or interact with physical events. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm not going to read all this out. But you can see how you can just get stuck in these rabbit holes. What I want to look at, though, is this article by Alexandre Bibot de Delisle and Gilles Brazard in March. This looks at, I've had a scan through this. So I found this through Google Scholar. Anyone can use that. It's great. If you've not heard of it, you can just Google Scholar, and then you'll be able to use that search engine, and it only looks at published works, academic works. So it kind of it removes all the general public stuff, if you like, and just only looks at academic. Doesn't mean it's any more right or wrong, but I like to do it because I like to challenge my A, reading level, and B, it's given me at least some angle where someone's had a good hard think about it and hasn't either plagiarized someone's work or just it's some crappy journalistic article for ad views. So this one, is the probability and consequences of living inside a computer simulation. So we're going to read through this today, not all of it. I will put the link in the description if you want to go and look at it yourselves. But we're going to have a little look now, because what we want to do is see what these guys, I don't know, is Alexandra, could be a female, I don't know, these people, these brains in jars, what they think is the probability of it being a simulation. Elon seems pretty set on it. Like, he's given it's a simulation and we're one of them. We're not the base reality. And he just get a little mention here as well. So we're going to read through the introduction, and then we're going to skip down to the bottom, because I'll show you in the middle bit. It's just crazy. It goes maths mad. The question of whether or not we are living inside a computer simulation has inspired a large amount of fiction, notably the novels Simulacron 3 and the movie The Matrix, but unsurprisingly not much serious research. Among the more reasonable and quantitative attempts, let us mention Nick Bostrom's simulation argument. Now, he does have the footnotes. Shouldn't have pressed that, should I? Oh, my life. Oh, get on with it. If this is the computer simulation, my brain in a jar is malfunctioning. Clearly. Oh, look, it's all gone wrong. There we go. Start again. Don't press the things, Helen. Just read it. If societies do not tend to self-destruct before... so that's what Elon was saying about you have to not have he called it a calamitous event, like a massive nuclear holocaust war or some, meteor shower dinosaur or massive ice age. I think we are in an ice age. We're in the tail end of an ice age, I think. I don't know. If societies do not tend to self-destruct before acquiring the technology necessary to the exploitation of a significant fraction of the computing power inherently permitted by the laws of physics, our probability of living inside a simulation approaches unity. So that's saying, I have to translate this for myself. If we don't kill ourselves, then we get the technology so that we can have the computer power that physics allows, then it's likely that we're in a simulation. That's making a lot of assumptions about the human behaviour. It's very techy and it's very tech focused, and I think this ignores the power of corner cutting that humans possess. Because this is assuming that everyone's doing this amazing stuff all the time. Everyone's cutting corners all the time. Everyone's finding ways to replicate things without... look at AI. AI is now used for cutting corners. Where if you can use it to cut a corner, people do it. People do it for voiceovers in their YouTube videos. People use it for writing articles and books. There's all sorts of art, creating pictures because they can't be bothered to do them themselves. I think this is for me, this is the main flaw in everything that I've read about simulation theory. It doesn't account for the laziness of human beings. And I think, was it Bill Gates said something around the fact that he wants lazy people because they find better ways and quicker ways to do things. So I'm not saying it's lazy is a bad thing. I'm just saying it's an inherent human trait to find the path of least resistance, which doesn't always mean necessarily that you're going to be the most technologically advanced peeps. This fairly pessimistic point of view has been widely publicised, for instance, making it into The Guardian, which is a British newspaper, where, among others, Elon Musk is reported to have ascertained that we have almost certainly lived within a simulation, going as far as saying the odds we're in base reality is 1 in billions, and it cites that video that we watched, which is cool. Despite some of our arguments being compatible with such a view, we show that the cost of simulating our environment and the possibility of recursive simulations, so more of them, indicate that in most realistic scenarios, the odds are instead in favour of our living in base reality. So this is saying the opposite of what Elon said in that video. So this is saying it's more likely we're in a real world. It's not saying, however, that there are not simulations. It's saying that we're in the OG. Okay. As with many things in computer science, the idea that our world may be a simulation needs revisiting in the light of the development of quantum computing. Fun! I'm sure my brain can understand that. While it remains to be formally proven that quantum computers are more powerful than their classical counterparts, and whatever that says in brackets, accumulating evidence seems to support the intuition that many quantum phenomena cannot be efficiently simulated with classical computing power, often occurring an exponential slowdown, as famously noted by Richard Feynman as early as 1981. So, quantum computers are more powerful than their classical counterparts, which is assumed. It's not proven, but it's assumed. The evidence supports that quantum cannot be simulated by classical. So your computer on your desktop now, or in your phone, in your hand, or whatever, or your Xbox console, can't be a quantum computer. That, I know nothing about these things, but that kind of sounds fair. That's like saying my brain in a jar cannot simulate, Stephen Hawking's brain in a jar. But then he probably couldn't simulate mine either, to be fair. No offence. We shall thus proceed on the assumption... Oh, there's a pigeon outside. Distracted me. Bloody simulated pigeon. We shall thus proceed on the assumption that the current scientific consensus is correct, and that simulating the whole of our physics on classical resources would be infeasible. Right? The current scientific consensus, so the agreement in the scientific community, agree that simulating all of our physics on the computers we have now just wouldn't work. Oh, well, that makes sense, yeah. At the other end of the spectrum, we suppose that our physics can be efficiently simulated on quantum computers that we can theoretically envision. So, where we can't do quantum on ours, we assume that quantum can do ours on theirs. Okay? And then it disputes it. This is in fact not necessarily true. For instance, if there is no scale at which physics becomes discrete and the information density of our world is infinite, or if gravity is truly beyond quantum mechanics and requires an even more powerful computation paradigm, if there is no scale at which physics becomes discrete and the information density of our world is infinite. Okay, so there's too much information. After using these assumptions to estimate the proportion of beings potentially resulting from deliberate simulations, we investigate the possibility of eavesdropping from the outside of such a simulation. Okay, I'm saying okay because I'm using my classical computing brain. While it is not possible to form arbitrary measurements on a genuinely quantum simulation without disturbing it, yes, because I think in quantum physics, if you look at something, it disappears. What is that? I know I've read that somewhere. This is why I have to write stuff down, because it doesn't stick in my classic computing brain jar. Okay, so let me start again. While it is not possible to perform arbitrary measurements on a genuinely quantum simulation without disturbing it, we show that the combination of the essentially classical nature of our thoughts and the possibility of the simulation being adaptively rewired gives the simulators an insurmountable advantage. So you can't look at a quantum simulation without ruining it. So our classical thoughts and it being rewired gives the simulators an insurmountable advantage. Okay, that does not go in my head. Estimating the proportion of simulated beings. Now, You tell me my brain in a jar doesn't go there. It sees that and it starts fizzing. The water in the vat starts bubbling. Simulated Helen just starts walking into the walls NPC style. I want to read this, but let's just read it just to hear the words, and then we'll skip to the end. Okay. Let's try. We're here to learn. We're here to test our brains. So let's do it. The computing power theoretically attainable with the known laws of physics is immense. That's fine. Yeah. What we can obtain in real world now is massive. Harnessing this power from a single kilogram of matter would allow for roughly 10 to the 50 operations per second. So, say this pen weighs a kilogram. This pen has the potential for 10 to the power of 50 ops per second. Don't know what an operation per second is. And furthermore, they could be quantum operations on qubits. We're just making words up now. Let us denote this computing power density. D mat, so that's the density of the material, equals 10 to the power of 50 per kilogram. Yes, okay, I suddenly understand that. Or at least I'm following it. By comparison, reasonable estimates on PBRA, the computing power of the human brain. Okay, so BRA is brain, mat is material. So the power of the brain, PBRA, whose average mass brain is 1.4 kilogram. So they're going to put these numbers into this equation. Vary between 10 to the power of 14, 10 to the power of 15 operations per second. So the computing power of the human brain is less than half of the what they've assumed here. So here we use a different thing. That P brain, which I clearly have, is 10 to the power of 16 operations per second. So my P brain has 10 to the 16 ops. In a hypothetical civilization with a technological level, civ, sufficient to use a significant proportion of the computing power intrinsic to the physical matter, the 10 to the power of 50, say 1 billionth, it may thus be possible for a single computer, the mass of the human brain, about 1.4 kg, to simulate the real-time evolution of 10 to the power of 25 virtual brains. So 1.4 kilogram is a brain, and they reckon that in a hypothetical civilization, oh my god, yeah, I'm losing it. We recognise that anthropocentric comparisons with the human brain are totally arbitrary on a cosmic scale, but exact numbers are inconsequential for our purpose. Furthermore, as we are investigating the whole question from a philosophical and futuristic point of view, we do not need to worry about the fact that our own civilization is extremely far from being able to develop the technology we are discussing. So, I think that for me, that last line is everything, because they're saying the probability of us being in a simulation now is zero, because we do not have the technology. And this was written in 2021, so not a million years ago. And obviously Elon's seeing, he works in his point of view, I suppose he's a tech guy. He's seen tech go from, you know, and me myself being, you know, an old millennial, have seen tech go from nothing to everything. That exponential growth. I do think it will pan out. I think it will slow down. I think it will plateau. I don't think it keeps going and going and going and going. Especially with computing power, like it says, the computer that I've built here. Yes, I did build my own. Thank you very much. You can keep upgrading the different pieces and making sure it's got the power. So yeah, you could say, well, that can keep going, but there will come to a point where it can't simulate a new whole entire reality. It can't just keep that going in the background forever. I suppose what they're saying here is like the virtual brains come out of a single human brain. So my base reality brain can then create loads of simulations. I don't know about that. Look at all this maths. We're not going to do this. I will link it if you want to test yourselves, because that's crazy. My brain rejects that out of hand. There's, I suppose, what it's terrifying. I don't like the maths. Let's skip down to the end, because there's all sorts. I mean, look at this. I'm not going to read that out to you. That would be insane. Surveillance from above. If our universe happens to be a deliberate simulation, we might have to worry about being observed by beings who live on the levels closer to reality. We might have to. It doesn't say we are being observed. As mentioned, we can also worry that they will stop simulating us. That was like what Grandad said on the stage with Elon. Like, oh, they could reboot it, and he just ignored him. But there is not much we can do about that, except maybe let them observe us and strive to remain entertaining. If the simulation is flawless and runs on classical computing power, it is fairly obvious that no defence is possible against external observation. Indeed, if that is the case, quantum phenomena in our universe are also simulated by classical operations, which at the start they said you got to assume won't be possible. All information can therefore be copied at will by the simulators without affecting the simulation, because we're assuming that a quantum simulation you can't change without people noticing, whereas if it's classical computing power, then they can change it, and thus without the possibility of detection. In fact, this is exactly what we do when we play a video game or perform most of our physics simulations. In addition to not being able to rely on quantum effects, we would also not even be protected by the constraint of no signalling, because the distance between 2 points may be completely different in a simulating system, and the evolution of the simulation couldn't be paused to allow for interaction between distant components. So I suppose that's the thing. If it's on a quantum... See, this is all about quantum and computers and computing power. And that's the thing. If you have infinite billions... I mean, Elon was talking about billions of simulations. So billions of simulations. How are they run? Who's powering that? Where is that power coming from? Is each one powering the next? With everyone's combined brain power? Because we are electricity, you know. For once it is to our advantage that perfection is so difficult to achieve. If the simulation is classical but imperfect, we might be able to figure it out. As is often seen in video games, computing errors can have a pretty flagrant impact on a simulated world. To illustrate this impact, we can look at collision detection errors, still very frequent despite the growing realism of modern games. When two objects that should collide pass through each other, the resulting clipping can break the player's immersion. The inverse error, where an object's path is blocked even in the absence of an obstacle, can even be more problematic, potentially stopping the game's progression. From inside a simulation, such errors leading to incoherent laws of physics might be detected, hinting at the words artificiality. So that's saying perfection is difficult to achieve, mistakes are made, and if the world was simulated, people would have come across errors in the physics, i.e. moving through things you shouldn't be able to move through, or not being able to, like, coming across the invisible wall, which I don't think happens. Although, who was that guy, that magician that went through the Great Wall of China on telly back in the 90s? He was like one of those tanned, curly-haired magicians. Very massive. People loved magic back then. Oh, he was huge. He wore like his shirts unbuttoned and stuff. Oh, I can't remember, but have a look. He went through the Great Wall of China, so maybe that was real. Maybe he knew that we're in a simulation and he's using that to his magical advantage. Okay, cool. So I'm going to leave that there and just scroll down to the next bit, because here's the conclusion. So, to investigate the possibility that our universe is deliberate simulation, we use the following assumptions. Our physics can be efficiently simulated on discrete quantum computers, but not on classical computers. Because if it was on a classical computer, you'd be able to change it and you'd come up against physics that wasn't right. Simulated civilizations can create their own simulations once they develop the necessary technology. So if you're in a simulated civilization, you can then also create your own sims, which is interesting. And that's what I was saying about the difference between if you were starting off in an Ancestors versus, sci-fi kind of game. On average, the behaviour of intelligent beings is independent of whether they are real or simulated. So whether we're in base reality or we're a simulated version of ourselves, it doesn't matter. We still behave in the same way. Because I was discussing this with my partner last night, and I said, if people truly, truly, truly believe they're in a simulated world, why do they not do whatever they want to do? Why don't they rob a bank? Why don't they, do all the crimes that they? Why isn't it the purge every day? And I don't know, maybe it's just because if you are that simulated, because you've been created by the original creator, i.e. ourselves in base reality 1. That's a cool name for a book. They've just passed on their behaviour traits, and that's carried on. You can't then escape human behaviour because that is always passed on through every simulation. That's quite reassuring. In the absence of additional evidence, the total proportion of simulated beings is a good estimate of the probability we live inside a simulation. Note that we inherit this assumption from Bostrom's argument. Even though it is debatable, it becomes nearly impossible to treat this topic in a quantitative manner without it. Although we argue that Fermi's paradox could potentially be explained by our universe being a simulation of variable complexity, we use a Drake-style equation to show that proportion of simulated beings, and thus our probability of living inside a simulation, should, on average, remain fairly low, very much likely much under 50%. The main factors in favour of low probability are the high cost of convincingly simulating a civilization's environment, the unavoidable imperfect efficiency of any computation, and the fact that simulations can be recursive, changed. If, despite this, we are simulated after all, we argue that our simulators could eavesdrop on us without significantly perturbing the simulation, even if it is genuinely quantum. While poorly designed attacks could be detected from within the simulation, the postulated fundamentally classical nature of our minds and the simulator's ability to adaptively rewire their computing systems would enable them to mount an unbeatable general attack. Oh, that sucks. I don't know. There we go. I don't know how I feel about it. It mentioned Fermi's paradox there, which we can take a look at. I think that's basically saying that... well, let's have a little look, because we're sitting with the internet. But Fermi's paradox is, why can we not see anything? Why are we alone? In all the time watching the skies, why is it that we haven't come across any extraterrestrial life yet? And I suppose simulated theorists can use that to say, well, we're in a simulation and you're simulating a world where we hadn't come across that, so your simulation can't have aliens because the original people hadn't come across aliens at the time you were simulated, which is an interesting concept. And, it's all a bit scary, really. I don't know how it makes me feel. How does it make you feel? It'd be really interesting. Let me know. if what you think. Does it frighten you to think that that's real? I think it frightens me that people in charge of an American government department think that's real. I don't know why. It just feels like, please just think this is the only reality, because then we have to protect it more than anything else. I think for me, as someone who, you know, I'm passionate about the environment, not in a hippie way, just this is a very beautiful place with lots of interesting things on it. Let's try not to make it shit. And at the same time, a lover of tech, and watching that tech development and exponentially expand has been amazing throughout my whole lifetime. You know, so I like those ideas. I don't know how much I believe this. I don't think it's true. I think that people are lazy and flawed and fundamentally would excuse my French, fuck it up without getting there. We would get to the point of, we're just about to come to the conclusion of being able to put it into a simulated practice, and then we'd either blow ourselves up, or we'd be too lazy to make it perfect, or we just wouldn't have the power. You know, we're running out of, you know, we'll have to have power sources for this stuff. You've got a finite supply of fossil fuels. So, I mean, yeah, they've got years and years to go, but then you'd have to have renewable power or nuclear power put in place, which we have. You know, it's not saying that that isn't there, but you'd have to have all of that running just to keep a simulation going. But why would you bother? And you could argue that maybe if they got to a point in the future where the world was going, they knew the world, there was a climatic event, so a climate change event, let's go with that theory. So there's going to be some horrific climate change event, so, and we're all going to be, you know, burnt to a crisp, and the trees are going to die, and the oceans are going to go grey, and everything's just, life on Earth is just going to fizzle out into fag ash in an ashtray. Then you might want to simulate the world. That might be a good reason why this happens, because that's where I don't know why. Like, why would you even have this? And if it, so yeah, maybe it's because they wanted to simulate the world and create a version of the universe where that was at its best. But then what they don't realise, that in every simulation, people are doing the same thing, having the same technological discoveries, and getting to the same point of destruction every time. So then that's why each simulation therefore has to keep making their own simulation so that they can protect it for the next gen. Maybe. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. It's just fun. It's Sunday morning. It's a nice day. I woke up early after having a wonderful time around a friend's house last night. And yeah, it's fun to think out loud and have these kind of thought experiments. Let me know what you think. It'd be really interesting. I've kind of gone rambling a bit with this one, and I'm sorry I did skip over some of that article, but why I like looking at those scholarly academic articles is they do test, they're not the normal things I read, so that it's a nice test of vocabulary, grammar, and reading something that someone's poured their research, their heart and soul into is good fun for me. It's something where it's, show your sources, you know, something we don't get in our simulated reality that is online and social media, the kind of trust me bro vibes of everyday life that we live in. You could argue that actually that's something else that jumped to mind, was social media being online now, us online. You're looking at a simulated version of me. I know, you're welcome. And I'm looking at a simulated version of you if you're in the chat or you're in the comments. And being online gives a simulated version where you are maybe less likely, maybe that's why people are less likely to behave themselves online and be more impolite, rude, troll, send, threats to people in their DMs. I'm not saying I get any of this. I'm a nobody. It's fine. But I think that's why people feel they can be a bit ruder than they would be to your face, because it's a simulated environment. It's not real. It's not reality. It's contained within the box that sits under your desk or in your phone. And I think that's the closest we get to a simulated environment every day, is being online with each other. Because when you're scrolling, you're on Twitter or Reddit or wherever, and you're reading all this stuff, people get really aggravated by each other online, way more than they do in real life. And it's really funny to me. And and you sometimes just read these comments, and everyone's really vitriolic, and everyone's very black or white about things. No one ever critically thinks. No one ever asks for sources. No one ever thinks, well, maybe, what if it's different? What if it's from the other side of the fence? How can I, come and put myself in your shoes for the day? No one does that. Everyone's like, this is my point of view and you can go to hell. Because it's a simulated reality. And I think that's as close as we've got. I don't think this is the real world. I think that this is not a simulation. I don't think we've got the technology in our world. And I don't think anyone's noticed. I don't trust people to be that good that they wouldn't muck up somewhere. 100%. 100%. There would have been an invisible wall somewhere once that someone would have come up against. And maybe they have. And maybe that, that's why no one ever believes the UFO sighters, because they're always like, I was abducted, or the abductees, because I was abducted, but you're some crazy guy in the middle of nowhere, no one believes you. So, photo, it didn't happen. Maybe it's that. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed looking at simulation theory. It hasn't changed my mind, but it does make you think about it's a thought experiment more than a reality. I think it's dangerous to think of it as just, oh yeah, definitely this is I'm not here and I'm fake. So you might find that comforting. But as Descartes' mind and body split, that's interesting to me. I might go and read a little bit more about that. His famous phrase is obviously, I think, therefore I am. And that kind of goes into the whole, even if you are a brain in a jar, and even if you are separate from your body, and even if it is a simulation, you think you are. That's it. So because you're able to think independent thoughts, that means you exist. And that is a completely legitimate form of existence. And you don't need to be anything more than that. I think that's a pretty cool view. I think that's the most positive thing you can get out of simulation theories at the moment, from what I've read. That, yeah, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? If I am driving down the road and I run over a squirrel, that squirrel still dies. I still feel bad. I feel bad for animals that get run over on roads. It really makes me sad. But, it's just like, it's still the same. It doesn't make it any less. And I think that's the important thing. It doesn't make it any less important to look after the world around you, even if it is simulated. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want your brain in a jar to have a beautiful, interesting view of life? So I think it kind of has a positive play. So we'll draw a line there. Well, I hope that some of that was interesting. I found it quite interesting. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at... we've got a game to play. It's 10:30. That's okay. We can have I might do an hour on the game and then finish it off next next week. But it's a pretty cool game. It's called The Operator. I'm just going to get it set up, and then we can have a little go. It's a windowed game as well. I'm just going to get it started, and then oh my gosh. Let me get him started up. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. You must let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Because I don't know what you guys are interested in. I mean, to be honest, I am doing this really so my daughter's got something to look at when I'm like not compass. Okay, you should be able to hear that. I can see that coming through. Let's get game window. Let's get him up. There we go. Nice. I did start and have a look at it because I always have a look at games before I play them on stream, because I don't want to like play something that's grotty and horrible.
You will answer my questions as usual. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you understand?
I'm just pausing that because I don't think it's coming through.
Do you believe in extraterrestrial?
Oh no. Okay, this isn't working. We're just gonna stick a new window in, I think. There we go. That's better, said Peterson. Okay, cool. I'll put myself on top. And then we should be good to go.
Are you currently restrained? Are you married? Do you work in law enforcement? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? Are you? Good. He's ready.
Oh wow. The Operator. I picked this because I thought it looked really cool. I'll just check the old levels on that. Is that loud enough for you guys? Moon macro systems. Okay. I love games that are jobs. I love having a job. Oh, I didn't know what to put in here. Oh my god, you can just hit tab. Okay. Hacked my own password. Oh, that's cold. Welcome to the FDI. You're assigned to the operator program. Please read the following doc before proceeding. No. What else we got? Notepad. Oh, settings. Terminal. Okay. Oh. All right. Welcome to the FDI operator. Why is it in inverted commas? Secure and monitored. The operator program has been specifically designed to provide technical support to field agents, henceforth abbreviated as agents, while also ensuring a high level of confidentiality. How does it work? Agents call the hotline. The call is dispatched to secretaries who verify the agent's identity. The request is forwarded to the supervisor. Supervisor ditches a call to available operator. That's me. Direct line is established between the operator and the agent. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Alright. Mike Trench.
Hey, pal. How you holding up? Get all that booze out of you?
I'm never going to drink again.
That's what you said last time. Well,
It's classic office banter.
you and me at the FDI together. It's really great. But I gotta tell you something.
Ooh.
We're on the job. I can't treat you differently than anybody else. You understand, right?
Of course. Mike, I mean Director Trench.
I'd better run. The FDI can't run itself now, can it?
No.
Your first day. All right?
Okay. Thanks. Talk to you later, Mike. Javier Skinner.
Good morning, Mr. Tanner. Welcome to the FDI.
Hello.
I assume you're up to speed on your mission here at the operator program?
Yeah? I read the welcome document, sir.
Basics. Good. So, just to recap, your job is to support our agents by providing them with all the help they need in the field to
Cool.
solve the case.
Love that.
Come in the form of fact-checking, video and audio analysis, even lab work.
Okay.
My job as a supervisor is to link the agents with an appropriately matched operator. Any questions?
So many.
You need to learn how to respond to an agent's request. Let's
Okay.
do a dry run, shall we? I want you to find my age.
Find.
Objective just popped up
What?
at the top left of your screen.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Beside the applications menu. See it?
Yes.
If you're stuck, or if you need help, simply click on the question mark next to the objective. Go on and click on the question mark, Tanner.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I need help.
You can always click on the question mark if you get stuck, though I'm hoping this won't happen often. I'm giving you access to the human database. The human DB, as we call it here.
Human DB.
You can find this and other tools to help you solve agent requests in the applications menu.
Okay.
Now go ahead.
Oh.
Tanner. Solve my
Why does he
request.
say my name like that?
Find my age.
Find my
Click on the
age.
objective and then select the answer on the screen.
Fine. What is your name? Javier Skinner. Mr. Skinner. Little, name that film. Okay. Age. Oh, you know what? That's giving me Papers, Please vibes.
I'll let you get settled in. And
Married.
I'll contact you later with your first real request.
No scars or marks. Ooh. I wonder if I'm in there. What's my name? Evan? Oh. Nope. We'll do it. We'll do it now. We'll have a look and see if we're in there. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, look, before anything happens, let's just do it. Shh. No. I want to see if we're in here. Shut up. Can I put him on hold? That's. Oh, that's us. Svelte. Nice. 5'8" ish. Is that 5'8"? I'm 117. That's 5'7". Single. Okay. It's just interesting. That's cool. Right.
Tanner, looks like your first request is somewhat of a baptism by fire.
Oh, good.
I have an agent working a homicide. her first case, too. Not ideal, but consider this a learning experience. I'll be monitoring you in the background.
Oh, like like a simulator. I look forward to the challenge, sir.
Patching the agent through now.
Okay. Pendle.
It's Operator Tanner, right?
That's right, Agent Pendle.
I don't think our paths ever crossed at the academy, did they? Anyway, I got a homicide at a bar downtown called The Sanctuary. Ironic, no? My Vic, dead on arrival. Is male, Caucasian, early 60s. He was shot in the head at close range around 2 a.m., just before closing time. As far as evidence, I got some surveillance footage from the bar, and some kind of list that I found on the deceased. Any chance you can work your operator magic and help find me an ID on the shooter?
Sure, not a problem.
Thanks, operator. Okay, I'm sending over the files. Good luck.
Cool. Alright. What have we got? Look at, oh my gosh, okay,
That's
names.
the list I found on the victim. It's pretty long, and to be honest, I got no idea who any of those people are. The bizarre thing is, that name at the bottom, it wasn't redacted when I bagged it, but I think it's irrelevant to our shooting here.
Oh, someone crossed that off. Okay. Loads of names, most of them crossed out, some of them circled. What's this? Car pulls up, someone runs in, shoots the dude, legs it.
This is our cutting-edge video analysis system, Tanner. Click on any relevant elements in the video to trigger an analysis. Go on, give it a whirl.
Go on. Well, the car's pretty exciting. Let's get a number plate and then we can see who it's registered to.
Just like with the video, you can click on a photo for further analysis.
Okay. Ooh, CPL 481, Toyota Corolla hatchback. Owner, Ray Wells. Distributor, Black Oil Motors. Stolen, not stolen. So that doesn't mean it's Ray Wells driving it, but it's a good place to start. Find the killer's name. Well, that's all we've got, so let's try it. Ray, bad boy. The car belongs to Ray Wells.
Now we know the first name. You got something for Wells' address? Because I'll take it if you do.
Let's look him up, because that is a distributor. It is not Ray Wells' address. So let's just get rid of these. Can we just like get a picture of him? Let's just do the scan.
The footage quality is insufficient for a proper ID, operator.
Okay.
Need to find another way to ID the killer.
Well, at least we've tried that. Let's look up Ray Wells. I love typing that in. That's fun. So, place of birth, last known address, Ray. That doesn't look like that guy. Possession of drugs with intent to sell. He's just like small fingers. He's like literally a small time guy. Why is he shooting someone? I reckon he's been paid to do that. He doesn't have a firearms license. He's just... Here's the address.
Nice work. Next up is to bring Wells in. I'll keep you updated. Thanks, Operator Tanner.
No probs. Just do my job, Agent. Cool.
Not bad, Tanner. Not great, but not bad either. I'll contact
Outrageous.
you later with your next request.
Understood, Supervisor Skinner. FTI headquarters, Washington, D.C., 5:32 p.m. That is home time. I should not be here. FTI most wanted. Please consult the latest FGI Most Wanted list. If you discover any info during your shift, tell your supervisor at once. Fred Smorkinski, mailing and hand delivering several explosives. Okay. Wilson Boulder, shut up. Sought for his role in numerous murders. Hal, what, cyber terrorism. Ooh, 1.5 mil. Snoresh, leader of the Seventh Day Healers cult, sought for ties to extortion, drug and things trafficking. Wow. Okay, I'm just gonna look at these guys. Right. Skinner. Mr. Skinner.
I need you to follow up on an investigation started by a previous operator. I'll let the agent working the case bring you up to speed.
Who was the operator?
That's none of your concern,
Oh.
Tanner.
Rude. Barry.
Oh, please. Tell me you got something.
Well, hello to you too.
Who are you?
Operation Tanner at your service. Let's be profesh.
Every goddamn time we get a new operator, it takes me twice as long. I got a life outside the FDI, you know? Interests, hobbies, full-blooded passions. I don't have time for this.
Can you tell me about the case, agent?
Got a missing persons
Stop
case
moaning.
out here in Dryfield, Nevada.
Okay.
Connie Moore's her name.
Connie
I
Moore.
canvassed the area, talked to the locals. I can't believe I'm saying this, but everyone thinks she was abducted by aliens.
Little green men?
Look, I think it's bonkers, too. Another weird thing is, over the past year, 4 people in Dryfield have claimed they've been abducted. And every single time they reappeared somewhere in the middle of the desert out here about a month later.
Ew.
The story's the same.
I thought she was missing.
She was. Popped back up yesterday.
Missing persons
Collected her
case.
testimony myself. She had a camera on her. Naturally, I'd like to look at the photos. But to do that, I gotta go through you, an operator. Lucky me, right?
Lucky me. What am I looking for, Barry?
Something off about all this. I mean, beyond all the talk of little green men.
Man.
Just look for something that doesn't add up, okay?
I'm on it.
Here are the files.
Find an inconsistency. Desert. Okay. So what did he... Just a quick... Connie Moore. Connie Moore testimony. Summary. Following Connie Moore's reappearance on 5th of March or the 3rd of May... This is American. I don't know. Whatever. 1992. We recorded her eyewitness testimony concerning her supposed alien abduction. At present was Connie Moore the victim, Agent Barry Walker, Brittany Holt, transcriber. Walker, can you tell us more about the day you disappeared? Moore, I was hiking in the desert out by Dryfield. Sometimes I do that to clear my head or to take photos. Photography is sort of a hobby of mine. Walker, and is that your camera? Points to camera. Moore, yes it is. Walker, what else do you remember about the day in the desert? Moore, well, it's a little blurry, but I wanted to hike around Mount Maury. I remember that. It's really beautiful at this time of the year. I remember taking 2 photographs. Then I heard this loud noise coming from the sky. I looked up and barely had time to take another photograph. It was just moving so fast, their ship, the UFO. And then I think it landed to the east. So I decided to head over and see if I could see anything else. Maybe get a photo of them. It must have taken me an hour and 45 minutes to go where it landed. Walker. Then what? Love Barry. Moore. I'm not really sure, to be honest. That's where my mind goes blank. The next thing I know, I'm waking up in some kind of room and I can't move. Wasn't that us at the start? Walker. Was there someone with you in this room? Moore. I don't like to think about it, but yes, they were there all around me, the aliens. Walker. What did they look like? Moore. The room was so bright, like I was looking into the sun. I only saw their silhouettes. Walker. Can you describe them as best you can? Moore. They weren't human except... They were human except they weren't. Something was off. They were too tall and thin. It was disturbing, actually. I couldn't see their faces. I'm glad about that. Walker. What do you remember about the room? Moore. It was white. I mean, entirely white. antiseptic. It smelled sort of like a hospital. There were no doors, no windows, nothing, just whiteness. Walker, what do you think they wanted with you? More. I think they wanted to learn more about me, to study me. I was so scared, I couldn't think straight. They kept asking me questions over and over again. Walker, what kind of questions? More. About my life, my family, my beliefs, everything. I guess that's what they do, study humans. What else do you remember? They had these strange voices, sort of mechanical, and there was a machine they were using on me. It was clamped to my head. I don't know what it was, but it hurt. Can you tell us anything else, Connie? Not really. Next thing I remember, I'm waking up in the desert outside dry fields. My head was throbbing, maybe because of their drugs or mind probes, I don't know. I just wandered around out there. Luckily, somebody found me, or I might have died from dehydration. And then I guess they called the cops, and the cops called you. End of story. What bright light in your face. Cell phone triangulation report, Connie Moore. Phone tower pings and timestamps from the day of Connie's disappearance, from the day she reappeared. Okay. There were no pings between the time of her disappearances on 5th of the 2nd to 5th of the 3rd. So the blue is when she was there, and then green is when she came back. So 8:45. Oh, so she was going up in the mountains. And didn't she say something about going to the east? So, anyway, I'm sure she said something about that. Okay, so that's that, and then camera. Ooh. So is this same time? 5:2:92, 5:2:92. Oh, these. Yeah. So here, and then 43, and then 10:13. That date's off. Oh look, I didn't even notice the flying saucer. I was looking at the dates, so I was like, the devil's in the details. Settings, nothing. Okay. Finds inconsistency. Maybe that was the inconsistency. I just want to look at these names. Oh, search. Connie. One occurrence in the list at the bar. Ooh. Okay, interesting. Why is she on the list and why is she circled? So the inconsistency is, we think, oh no, not you. Go away. Desert. Camera. This fella? Because this is all, the dates are wrong. The photo was taken on 21st of the 2nd, 16 days after her disappearance.
Connie said she took that photo the day she disappeared. Clearly, she didn't. Maybe the aliens did funny things.
Ganon.
Maybe your brain was funny to begin with. Do me a favor. Locate the position on the map where she supposedly snapped this photograph.
What is it? 10:13. It's got to be here. Sweet. Right here, Agent Walker.
All right. I'll check this spot out. Guess I gotta do a little hiking. Probably sweat my goddamn
Oh! That wasn't me. Secure boot check-in fails. What? Oh no. That wasn't. Oh man. Hello. What is happening? I'm just going to make sure that we can hear everything. How do you know my name? I know many things about you, Evan. You're hacking into the FDI. As if they don't know. Oh my god. I kind of figured that one out. Let me show you something. Oh my god. Do you remember the list found on Henry Jenkins? Yeah, the guy in the bar that got shot by Ray Wells. You remember Henry Jenkins, don't you? Evan? No, I guess you wouldn't. You didn't even bother analysing him in the footage. Oh, I... Didn't... Pendle said. The abducted woman. Connie. I'm also going to assume that you didn't notice that of the 136 people on it, 122 have been reported missing. I didn't notice, no. Should I have? One last thing, and this is the most important part. There's a name near the bottom that's been redacted. That name is the key to understanding everything. I have to go now, Evan, but I'll be in touch soon. Promise. We'll catch you, Hal. Oh. Let's just log back in, pretend like that never happened. Okay. Oh, yeah. Maybe we need to... I'm sure Pendle said about the victim. Yeah, I didn't look at the victim in that footage. Let's go and do that. This one here. Sharp Skinner. Oh my god, okay, I don't have clearance. Deed. Alright.
Operator Tanner, are you there? Agent Walker told me that your connection was suddenly cut. And when I tried to contact you, you were offline. What happened?
What? Oh, okay. Hal hacked my terminal.
Hal? I thought we had taken care of that problem.
I'm going to be honest.
Immediately with our cybersecurity department. The second shift of operators has arrived. You can go home now, Tanner. See you tomorrow. And don't be late.
See you tomorrow, Supervisor Skinner. Power off. Well, before I do... Let's try Hal. See if... No, okay. Interesting. Alright. Shutting down. I think we've got a cat. And a microwave. Let me smoke. Evan's apartment, 6 AM. I love that though. The kind of cutscene without a cutscene. Like, it sort of tells you about their life without. So we've got a cat and we smoke and we've got a microwave. And we live in the city because you could hear cop cars and stuff. That's pretty cool. Back to Woik. I hated that alarm, by the way. No one needs that in their life. Power it up. Moon macro systems. Ah, secure boot checking okay at the top there now. I noticed that was different. I used to work for police intelligence, so this is kind of a fun game for me. It's like what you used to do. Ah, trench.
Hey, pal. So, tell
Hey.
me, how'd day number 1 at the FDI go? Everything you had hoped for?
Did it go well? I don't think Supervisor Skinner likes me. I think it went pretty well.
All right. That's what I like to hear. Sorry, buddy. My phone's ringing off the hook here. I gotta run.
Okay.
Hey, great job. And just keep plugging away, okay? I'm proud of you, Evan.
Oh, he called me Evan, so I'm going to call him Mike. Thanks, Mike. Talk to you later. Bye. I've got the phone.
Operator Tanner, Agent Pendle has an update on yesterday's case. I'll patch her through in a moment. But before I do, I wanted to let you know that from this point on, you'll talk to the agents directly.
Okay.
Time to cut the umbilical cord.
Ew.
However, as your supervisor, I'll still be in the background monitoring your activity. Oh, I almost forgot. Our cybersecurity department is looking into this unfortunate matter with Hal.
Okay.
You can be assured that it won't happen again.
Good. We'll catch Hal, won't we, sir?
Of course we will, operator. This is the FDI.
I'm a company man. Alexandra Pendel.
Good morning, Operator Tanner. So
Sup?
you remember Ray Wells, right?
Yeah, of course I remember. It was
So I
literally
took those
yesterday.
address you gave me, but no sign of Wells. Then I get a call from Vice, and guess what? Wells was found dead in a downtown parking garage early this morning. Shot. Point blank range. Now I'm working 2 homicides, and it's my first week. Welcome to the FDI, Alexandra. Anyway, the garage has cameras, and I got some footage of Wells. That's the good news. The bad news? I don't have all the footage. Sort of weird, but part of it is missing.
Has it been tampered with? Which part? Which part?
Well, the most important part. The part where Wells is shot.
Oh, great.
Think you could take a look? I'm looking for anything that's different between the first and second half of the surveillance footage.
Okay.
Apart from Wells ending up dead and the blood splatter on the pillar. Sorry for the vivid details.
All right. Kiss the stuff. Find something different. Movement. Is that... Oh, and then we goes out. Did. So now we do spotting differences. So let's just get... So this is before. So we've got Ray moving about and then Ray did. So we've got... I'm just going to go like front to back. We've got this car. This one with the black line. 1, 2, 3, 4 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. And I'm just looking like which pointed in, out, pointed in. I think that's pointed out. So just look at these front ones. Like that black line's there. That looks the same. Yeah, okay. What's at the back? In 1, 2, 3, 4 pillars, 4 cars. They're pointing the same way. These cones. These cones are the same. And then, I'm just going to check this one because I can't see it as well. So I'm just looking at like the window shapes. I'm just seeing if they're the same. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's something less obvious. I'm just looking at this car. It's like black windscreen, and then it's got like the light on it. Would that be it? I mean, that is different, but it just seems really petty. What's that white dot? Yeah, that's still there. And these marks, like, are they tire marks? They are still there. Okay, maybe it is the light. Let's try it. Ooh. Ooh. This light's off in the second part.
Give me a sec, operator.
Cool.
I'm gonna check this out. Well. I just found a bullet lodged in the light's framework. I'm sending you a photo.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. I'm yawning.
Run an analysis and tell me what kind of bullet I'm looking at.
Okay. Good. It clicks. The bullet found in the light. 45. That one? Looks like a 45 caliber round.
I believe that's what the military and police use. Well, that's something anyway. Thanks for your help, operator. Appreciate it. If only we had all of the footage. Anyway, I should get back to the scene. Keep digging and see if you can find anything else about our perp.
More info on the killer. How? What from... Oh. Leave me alone. A deal that you find interesting. I'm not interested how you're a wanted crim and you're going to get me fired. We share a common goal. You, me, and the FDI. You just don't know it yet. Alright, what are you going to do? Help you with the Wells case. Oh no, that's what I'm doing now. But you have to help me later when I ask for it. Do you have a deal? I'm going to try and play... I'm going to play it straight. So, I can't do anything illegal. You won't be. I mean, apart from working with me. But that's the point. Oh, yeah. Pendoy could use my help. So, whatever. Yes, she could. And you could be her knight in shining armour, Evan. That's not why I'm doing it. You have access to the garage footage, all of the footage, and it's pretty spectacular stuff. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put this big, juicy, missing part back in so you can watch it and solve this crime. I'll help you if you help me. But what if someone asks about it? 100%. If somebody asks how you got the missing footage, just say the analysis software restored it. It's supposed to be cutting edge anyway, right? So, do we have ourselves a deal? Fine, whatever. I need you to say it, Evan. Say, we have a deal, Hal. Oh my god, okay. We have a deal, Hal. Now give me a few seconds to run my script. Okay. All right. The missing footage has been magically restored. Got my popcorn ready. I'll be back a little late to collect my debt, Evan. God, it's ominous, isn't it? I don't want anyone looking at my screen and seeing that on there. How they're gonna know? I'm gonna get so done for this. Like, even if it helps solve the crime, I'm speaking to a criminal to do it. The ends do not justify the means. Car. Oh no. Can we get an ID on this?
I see that you ran the facial recognition software, and 0 matches turned up.
Yeah.
That's unusual. In fact, it shouldn't even be possible.
Okay.
Our FDI databases are exhaustive. I'll flag this issue for later.
Okay.
Go ahead and share the image with Agent Pendle.
All right. Oh, thanks for watching in the background. I have an image of Wells's killer.
Wait, I don't understand. How did you get this?
A magician never reveals his secrets.
Thanks, Tanner. I'll canvass the area.
No.
Maybe someone has seen our Prince Charming. I'll talk to you later. And thanks again.
Don't mention it. Oh, after lunch. Wonder what we had for lunch. Maybe sushi, sashimi, a Greg sausage roll. Who knows? Now, about that debt, Evan. Oh my God. Already? I'll help you later. I'm full. I'm full from lunch. Listen, I know you ratted me out to your supervisor yesterday. No, I didn't. I said I didn't tell your secrets. But I'm on your side. You just have to give me a chance. Oh no, I did write them out. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry. Now I'm going to connect you to another FDI agent. Her name is Catherine Andrews. Just listen to what she has to say. Open your terminal and type the following command. Terminal. Nope. Terminal. Oh gosh, okay. 187.222.19.98. No. Secure. Command does not exist. What? Open your terminal and type the God. My attention to detail is shocking. Oh, no, secure. Go. What? Am I not writing this in properly? Call 187.222.19.98 -- no secure. Oh, gosh. What did I do wrong there? Huh.
Hello, Operator Tanner. Hal told me that you'd be calling.
What's this all about?
Okay, I'll try to keep
Get to the
short.
point.
I started working on a missing persons case.
I'm going to get in so much trouble.
Reported that her husband had been gone for over 48 hours. Almost right away, the case felt different. Red tape all over the place. An unusual lack of cooperation from my superiors and colleagues. Unanswered calls. Suddenly, the FDI felt like the most incompetent department in the country. After an almost endless game of phone tag, I finally managed to get an appointment with a superior. The plan was to sit down and talk about the case first thing Monday morning. That Sunday night, I'm awoken by a phone call. The woman's apartment has burned to the ground. And the woman, what's left of her anyway, has been found dead in the ashes.
So then what did you do?
Looking into the fire, of course. I couldn't help myself. Plus, I felt like I owed it to Mia. That was the woman's name.
Okay.
Mia Cole.
Mia Cole.
Anyway, it wasn't long before my superiors found out and pressured me to stop. They told me the fire had been ruled accidental, the result of faulty wiring in our oven. They told me I was wasting my time and precious FDI resources by looking into it, and said if I continued, I'd end up pushing papers in a basement somewhere. But that fire, Operator Tanner, that fire was no accident. I can feel it. Mia was murdered. I just have to prove it. That's where I'm hoping you can help me.
Why would Hal help you with this, or how do you know it's not an accident? Why would Hal help you with this?
I'm sorry, but I can't really go into that. Not now, anyway. You just have to trust me.
Great, trust me, bro.
The human DB. The husband's name is Sasha.
Oh, okay.
Sasha and Mia Cole.
Sasha.
Please.
Let's do Sasha. I do not have necessary clearance. I don't have the clearance level.
Just another coincidence, right?
Hmm.
Look, I don't know why, but someone doesn't want us looking into Sasha and Mia Cole. But we have to, Operator Tanner. It's our job. Who's going to do it if we don't?
Is it my job?
Can you find proof Mia's fire wasn't an accident?
Okay, yeah. How can we access their case files?
Take a look then? Oh, thank you.
Sure.
As far as how to access the case files, that's not really my area of expertise. But you can ask Hal.
Okay. How can I access the Cole files? Funny. I was just working on this very thing. So, it looks like I can't give you direct access to the files, but I found a bug in the chat. You should be able to inject a query that will get you in. Just type this. Excuse me, what now? Not in this chat, Evan. You idiot. I just clicked it because it was there. Alright, no offence, but how did you get this job? Shut up. I'll turn you in for my 1.5 mil. Alright, type this in the chat. So it's got the X. So it's not the top one because it doesn't start with the inverted commas. So it's one of these two. Download flirt. Download flirt. Yeah, same. Select from cases where. Select from cases where. That's the same. ID equals 9xq LHC 9xq 9h. Oh, this one. Sweet.
Despite being, well, a thorn in the side, you have to admit Hal gets results.
Alright, what have we got? Oh. Gosh, that's smashed. Why is that all smashed of Sasha? Because we couldn't see Sasha in the thing either. And we got the ring. A ring. The inscription Sasha and Mia is engraved on the inside. Investigation report. Written by Agent Andrews. Modified on Summit by Summit. Closed. Death caused by accidental fire stemming from malfunctioning wiring in victim's oven as of 27th of 2nd, 92. Redacted. The fire started 25th of the 2nd around 2 a.m. and was successfully contained by 3:12 a.m. Owing to the duration of the fire, minimal evidence remained at the scene. A single victim, identified as Mia Cole through dental records, tenant information and a wedding ring, was discovered. The autopsy revealed no anomalies, attributing the cause of her death to the fire. No other signs of physical trauma were found. No indications of a forced entry or a struggle were evident in the home, aligning with the findings of the victim's autopsy report. The fire responses team report, referred to reports redacted, concluded that the fire originated from faulty wiring in the oven, a conclusion supported by our investigation. Okay, So fire in the oven, and then that leaves this. Oh, okay. You have opened a chemical sample. We've automatically given you access to the blah blah data reports application. You can find it with the other apps in the menu. Yes, I can. Review the user manual to the chemical sample analysis process before proceeding. User manual. Find these documents on your personal drive. Your supervisor will contact you. I don't want him to contact me. Okay, that's the same app. Oh, I don't want him to contact me because we shouldn't be doing this. It's going to go nuts. Provides guidance for proper use. Blah, 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 blah. Read this chemical. Yeah, I'm such a skim reader. How to use. Open the sample in the dedicated software. I think I've done that. Start the analysis process. No. Once the analysis is complete, open the data report app. Data report. Oh, okay. And then that will tell me what it is. Sample settings calcs. Ion size. What the hell is this? Ion size, delta V, threshold. Oh my god. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Input the appropriate setting. If I just read the instructions, input the appropriate settings for your sample using the formulas found here. So ion size. For a liquid sample, well, this is solid. Ion size is around 6. If the material is organic, ion must be set to 3.5. Non-organic, so that is 6. 6.0. Delta V. For an organic sample, well, we already know this is non-organic. The weight times 100. Weight in grams, so that's already in grams. So 4, you move it once, you move it twice. 420. That's hilarious. Is that a little in-joke? Threshold next. It's a solid to half of the delta V. So this needs to be half of that. 210. God. Matrix size. The default value of the matrix size is 5. If you're using an older version of ChemScan 103 or lower, you must set to 4. We are 104. So we is 5. Start. Did that work? Did it work? I'm so scared about that Skinner calling us so we can get in trubs. How do they not know that I'm accessing databases that I shouldn't be? Or that I've got a call, an unsecure call coming in. Okay, done. This is our results. How to read results. Blah, 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 blah. These are going to be used by the data report, this fella. Open the data report and input the CCVT, pH and frequencies to calculate the exact composition. Response frequencies must... Okay, let's just do this one step at a time. Right. Where is the CCVT? Is that on the bottom here? Yeah. We've got 901. pH 6.5. Right. So that's that bit. Now we'll do the next bits. The response frequencies must be entered from highest to lowest intensity spike. They must be between 1 and 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes that are higher than the threshold represented by the red area. You can use the mouse. Okay, so the response frequencies must be entered from highest to lowest, and they must be outside of this red box. So let's try that. So what have we got? This is the highest. 926. And this one, 252. 162. I wonder what happens if I get it wrong. I'm not gonna. I don't want to know. 1058. Maybe it just wouldn't run. And then there's no others outside of this red bit. And it's between 1 and 5, so that's fine. Calculate. Ooh. Okay, gasoline. That's naughty. Okay, so does that mean prove fire, not an accident? It's got gasoline in it. The ash has gas in it. There were traces of gasoline in the fire.
I knew it. Faulty wiring
my butthole.
No accident. Someone started this fire and killed Mia. But why?
What are you going to do now?
Maybe I'll end up at a desk in a dark...
She's not going to tell us why.
I'm going to keep digging into this. It matters to me.
How so?
I grew to know her. Mia, I mean. With our line of work, you try not to get emotionally involved. That's what they teach you at the academy anyway. Almost from the start. And usually I can turn the switch off. I learned to do that.
Something's happening. It's my vision. And
Mia, I just never could. She wanted to be a singer, she told me. That was her dream. And I'm not exactly an expert.
what's happening?
She did have a good voice. Really. She was just wanted to find you.
She was preggo when she died.
Are you still there?
Oh, that was weird. Yes, I'm still here, or I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Anyway, thanks, operator. Because of you, I finally have proof.
That was
Knowing
weird.
Hal, well, as much as someone can know Hal, I have a feeling this won't be the last time you and me work together.
Good luck, Agent Andrews. And I think... So you found evidence proving the fire wasn't an accident. Well done, Evan. Maybe there's hope for you yet. The way the FDI has handled the coal case, it's strange, don't you think? I want to do my job, Hal. That's it. I'm just playing straight. But solving cases is doing your job. So is making sure victims get the justice they deserve. Look, I know you probably still don't trust me. I'm on the FDI's most wanted list. I hacked into your computer. I get it. But tell me something. Why would I bother going to the trouble of working with a low-level FDI employee? Sorry, if I didn't have a good reason. I have literally no idea, Hal. I'm trying to be so unbothered. Maybe you're thinking about turning me in to get that reward, but it's too late. You're in too deep. Director Trench is calling me. Be careful. I'm going to pause it there. Oh, that's so much fun. Let's, we're going to quit. That was very exciting. I love that game. I'm going to pause it there and then we will take it up next week and finish it off. I loved how, I don't know why it changed like that. But the mechanics of the game's great and the sound is amazing if you're listening to it through headphones. Anyway, if you joined me, that was great. Thank you so much for watching. And I it's great fun for me. I don't know how to wrap up, so I'm just going to say goodbye. see you next week when I'll come up with some other topics. If there's other topics you want me to have a look at, tag me in them on TikTok at IT Mindshaft, or on Twitter at Into the Mindshaft, or here on YouTube. Stick it in the comments and I'll take